Here are a few playoff letdowns. We have to begin with the poster champion, James Harden. James Harden is the bearded puzzle, the step-back enthusiast, the player who transformed 30-point triple-doubles into effortless walks in the park during the regular season, at least. It's undeniable that Harden is exceptional from October to April. The man earned an MVP, topped the league in scoring 3 times, and turned isolation basketball into a masterpiece. At the height of his time with the Houston Rockets, he transformed the Toyota Center into his own stage, dazzling defenders with intricate crossovers and eliciting fouls through a skillful manipulation that led to changes in the rulebooks. Despite his heroics in the regular season, the playoffs have repeatedly presented a much more frustrating narrative, marked by missed shots, vanishing performances, and defensive breakdowns that continually baffle fans and analysts alike. Let's begin with the positive. Indeed, there was an apex. During the 2017-2018 season, Harden led the Rockets to the top of the Western Conference as the #1 seed with an impressive league-best record of 65 wins and 17 losses. That season, he guided the Rockets to the Western Conference Finals and pushed the dynasty, characterized Golden State Warriors, to 7 exhausting games against what was the greatest team ever. Yet, even in that shining moment, the flaws were becoming apparent. In the 6th game of that series, with the Rockets leading 3-2 and an opportunity to take out the Warriors at home, despite Chris Paul being injured, Harden made 6 of 15 shots from the field, including a tough 3 for 11 from beyond the arc. Then arrived Game 7, the notorious 27 consecutive missed threes, where Harden shot 12 for 29 from the field and 2 of 13 from three-point range, while also racking up 5 turnovers. Houston squandered a 15-point advantage and fell at home. In an instant, their top opportunity for a title and Harden's finest playoff display fell apart due to poor shooting and dubious choices. However, that was the summit. Harden's overall playoff record resembles a cautionary example for regular season athletes, failing to convert into success in the postseason due to a different style of basketball being played. In 2015, the Rockets reached the Western Conference Finals once more, but Harden's Game 5 showing against the Warriors was a catastrophe. He missed 9 of 11 attempts from the field and recorded a playoff-high 13 turnovers in a 104-90 elimination defeat. In 2017, as the 3rd seed, the Rockets competed against a Spurs squad missing Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker in Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals. Harden, surprisingly ineffective, scored only 2 of 11, ended with 6 turnovers, and fouled out in 36 minutes while the Rockets lost by 39 points at home. The body language is incorrect, the aggression was absent, and the game seemed to engulf him completely. In general, Harden has maintained quite strong playoff statistics: 22.7 points per contest, 5.5 rebounds, and 6.2 assists throughout his playoff tenure. However, the effectiveness diminishes significantly when juxtaposed with his performance during the regular season. By 2025, he is recording a disappointing 42% shooting percentage from the field and only 33% from beyond the arc in the playoffs. When defense intensifies and the officiating becomes stricter, Harden's tactics for drawing fouls become less effective. Rather than receiving simple calls for fouls, he registered an average of almost 11 free throws each game during his best regular seasons. That figure usually decreases during the playoffs as the officials keep their whistles silent. Having to achieve it through steady jump shots and hard-earned baskets, his shooting percentage frequently reveals the story. During the regular season, James Harden, at his peak, attracted as much focus as anyone. In the offense, with plenty of spacing, Harden can effortlessly rack up a ton of points. If you hype him up, he'll zoom past you. If you drop, he'll pull back and fire. If you provide assistance, he will locate his shooters. If you offer him a bit of physical contact, he'll embrace you and thrash around like a flounder. It's extremely effective during the regular season. And truly, if it were so simple, more individuals would take action. However, during the playoffs, he can reliably anticipate facing the top perimeter defenders in the league with slightly increased physical play permitted. You can anticipate a steady decline in his results, along with a handful of significant poor performances in crucial matches that are hard to ignore. Then there's the defense, or in Harden's situation, the absence of it. His defensive weaknesses have consistently plagued him during his career, even leading to several appearances on Shaq and a Fool, struggling with closeouts, ball watching during rotations, and getting beaten on the perimeter. In crucial playoff matches, these problems are intensified. Defenders such as Steph and Clay allegedly focused on Harden during pick-and-roll scenarios, aware he would either avoid arguing over screens or arrive late to assist. In the harsh 2019 Western semifinals defeat to the Warriors once more, Harden's disinterest in defense aided Golden State with vital scores during crunch time. His persistent lack of effort on defense during different playoff games was leading even the 7th and 8th players off the bench to have exceptional nights offensively. I'm referring to role players such as Wesley Matthews and Lou Dort. Indeed, Lou Dort has experienced standout performances against Harden during the playoffs, as coaches routinely targeted him in switches and pick-and-roll situations. It's not as if Harden never makes an effort. He has shown periods of strong defensive play in the post. He's a tough post defender and possesses reliable hands, averaging more than 1.5 steals in several playoff series.
However, his awareness away from the ball and endurance on defense have frequently been scrutinized, particularly when he is responsible for shouldering the offensive burden. As time passed, his team splits occurred earlier and earlier, especially with the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers, solidifying the perception. James Harden excels in the regular season, but struggles in the playoffs. Harden's playoff legacy is shadowed by the unanswered questions stemming from his disappearing acts in crucial games, his puzzling reluctance when assertiveness was necessary, and his questionable shot choices during critical moments. In 9 of his 13 playoff appearances, his teams have been eliminated in the second round or sooner. He's experienced matches where he scored at 25%, playthings where he lost the ball over 10 times, and had excessive instances where he appeared completely overmatched. Even after teaming up with MVP-level co-stars such as Kevin Durant and Kyrie in Brooklyn, Joel Embiid in Philly, or Kawhi in LA, the trend continued. High hopes, premature departures, and Harden leaving the court with a performance that failed to live up to the excitement. Thus, the story continues. Despite his incredible talent, James Harden's playoff narrative focuses more on what he has not achieved than on his accomplishments. Elevates, adapts, delivers. His exceptional performance during the regular season turned him into a superstar. His playoff struggles prevented him from achieving NBA legend status. However, if you found Harden's playoff history exasperating, just wait until we discuss Jalen Green. That man's performance in this year's playoffs wasn't merely poor, it was downright repulsive, sufficiently troublesome to have him sent away, not even a few months later. When the Houston Rockets chose Jalen Green with the second overall selection in the 2021 NBA draft, it was more than just potential, it concerned a fresh identity. Following James Harden's exit and the decline of the microball era, the franchise was eager for a new symbol of the future, a player capable of lifting them from the league's cellar and into a fresh era. Green, a 6'5" electric defender emerging from the G League Ignite program, appeared tailored for that position. The athletic ability was astonishing, the confidence was infectious, and the highlights became immediate viral sensations. Be it his powerful dunks in traffic, step-back threes from the parking lot, or that trademark smooth crossover leading to a no-look pass, Green Lodge was seen as the next great NBA scorer in the making since his high school days. His debut season had its challenges, yet there were moments that hinted at a future star. He scored over 30 points 6 times in his last 10 games of the 22 season, showcasing a scoring ability that even seasoned players had to admire. The Rockets were terrible, finishing last in the West, yet Green instilled hope. He wasn't merely a player, he was a phenomenon, a living SportsCenter highlight reel. As the seasons moved on, Jalen's performance truly didn't. By the third year, with new head coach Ime Udoka in the 2025 season, Green remained exactly the same player we signed during his rookie season. He continued to have tunnel vision, and his choices might be questionable. During the regular season, Green recorded an average of 21 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, shooting 42% from the floor and 35% from beyond the arc. Not inherently poor production, but somewhat concerning for various reasons. The Rockets were in urgent need of a scoring boost from the perimeter, and they require it immediately. It's not entirely Green's responsibility that the Rockets' schedule was compressed quickly, but with a team that requires precisely what he is expected to deliver. He hasn't improved the scoring efficiency at all, and it's his responsibility. The Rockets had created a solid support system around him, Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., and Asaran Thompson, along with experienced players such as Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, to stabilize the team. After several years, Houston concluded the season with a 51-31 record, earning the second seed in the Western Conference. The team achieved a remarkable transformation this season. When Jalen Green was at his best, he played a significant role in it. Green had recently burned the Lakers for 42 points in a game at the end of March, including 7 of 11 from long range and several clutch shots in the fourth quarter. While we are still anticipating consistency from such abundant talent that appears only sporadically, it was difficult to not completely lose hope, particularly as we head into a playoff series as the second seed. The Rockets faced off against the experienced Golden State Warriors in the opening round, a conflict between youth and experience. Following Green's impressive 38 points and 8 three-pointers in Game 2, it appeared that Houston was prepared for the big moments. Regrettably, that was the sole instance. What ensued was one of the most shocking failures by Rising Star in recent playoff history. In matches 3 to 7, Green's average is only 13.3 points per game. His shooting percentages dropped to 37% from the field and 29% from beyond the arc. In 2 of those matches, he recorded a shooting percentage below 30%. In Game 7, facing the season's fate at home, Green shot 3 for 14, tallied only 8 points, and appeared utterly overwhelmed. No hostility, no elevation, no beat. On several occasions, he rejected several clear shooting opportunities. He lost possession while attempting difficult stepbacks and missed 2 vital free throws in the third quarter as the Rockets aimed to overcome a 12-point deficit. For a player who occasionally seemed to possess nerves of steel as a primary scorer, Green faltered when faced with pressure. And the defensive end, which could be considered even worse. Warriors coach Steve Kerr focused heavily on Green. Whenever Green was on the court, Golden State targeted him in the pick and roll. Steph Curry glided by him. Even Jonathan Kuminga, his companion from the 2021 draft, managed to get past him off the dribble a few times, and this guy was hardly on the court. Based on advanced tracking statistics, the Rockets' defensive rating was 11.4 points lower per 100 possessions when Green played during the series. He was purely the embodiment of a defensive weakness while constructing plays on offense and not passing the ball. What the Jalen Green? A harsh statistic surfaced following the series. In the last 4 games, Green had a staggering -57 in plus-minus. I mean, just put me out there for goodness sake. For millions of dollars, sure, I realize I'd likely be in hot water as well, but at least I'd display some passion and spirit on defense. There are players who watch shots go in and decide to focus on defense, grab rebounds, and engage in activities beyond just running without purpose. Jalen Green merely soiled his trousers. When questioned about the challenges after Game 7, Green was candid. He stated, "I simply failed to deliver. I'll take care of it." Admirable indeed, but the harm was already inflicted. Supporters were furious. Analysts criticized him harshly. Those were his opportunities, and he wasted them, stated Kendrick Perkins. Even Stephen A. Smith couldn't hold back, stating, "I witnessed nothing, not a single thing from Jalen Green when it was crucial." These guys are foolish, sure, but what did we observe from Jalen Green that convinced anyone that he is the future star? Maybe the most troubling aspect was that Green's confidence appeared broken. By Games 6 and 7, the body language was unmistakable. Drooping shoulders, lackluster movements, careless closeouts. The occasion became overwhelming. Behind the scenes, whispers circulated that Rockets leaders were starting to question if Green could genuinely guide a title contender. One unnamed team source stated, "We appreciate Jalen's skills. However, we required someone who can do more than just shine on the scoreboard in March. We require an individual who can arrive in May." The whispers quickly transformed into roars. Just weeks after the playoff failure, trade speculation surrounding Jalen Green began circulating. When Kevin Durant's connection with the Phoenix Suns deteriorated after their season failure, Houston recognized a chance. The massive agreement made headlines like a loud bang. Houston Rockets signed Kevin Durant. Phoenix Suns acquired Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, a 2025 first-round selection, and a swap of picks in 2026. In an instant, the Jalen Green era in Houston comes to an end. The responses were somewhat varied. Certain supporters grieved the departure of a locally developed talent. Many, if not the majority, felt quite relieved. You don't ignore KD for a possibly. Analysts nearly unanimously deemed it a victory for Houston. "This is what championship teams accomplish," stated Zach Lowe during the Lowe post. "They know when it's the right moment to gather their winnings. Green had 4 years to demonstrate he was the right person, and he failed to do so." Meanwhile, Phoenix made a trade that resulted in a rather insignificant deal involving Book, Beal, and Green. This team will average approximately 4.5 passes in each game. Conflicting reports suggesting they will and won't reroute Green imply that no one, not even the Suns, is certain about how to handle the situation. In several respects, it was a charitable exchange, a fresh start, yet the symbolism was striking. A player was once compared to the next Harden, the next team. The Rockets' prized asset had turned into a bargaining chip. Neither for another emerging talent, nor for draft selections, but for a scoring veteran and Kevin Durant. Actually, I guess you could say Jalen Green is somewhat like the next Tracy McGrady, as both appear to be walking highlight reels that find it tough to perform when the pressure is highest. Tracy McGrady was truly the personification of exquisite scoring talent. A thrilling combination of size, reach, and a knack for generating scoring that few in NBA history can rival. At 6'8" with a quickness of a guard, smooth shooting mechanics, and incredible slashing skills, McGrady ruled the regular season in ways that captivated both fans and analysts. He emerged as a 2-time scoring leader, averaging 32 points per game in 2003 and 28 in 2004, and received 7 All-Star selections, along with several All-NBA accolades. All supported by his astonishing encore performance that could transition from a step-back three-pointer to an explosive dunk in an instant. Kobe Bryant, a player who feared no one, famously stated that T-Mac was the most challenging offensive talent he ever faced, commending him as a player devoid of weaknesses who could effortlessly eliminate any defender's advantage with his skill set. Even iconic highlight plays such as the remarkable 13 points in 35 seconds versus the Spurs. At this point, it felt like this guy was just playing 2K in real life. He entered NBA history through his scoring ability and athleticism at 6'8", solidifying his status as an extraordinary regular season player whose remarkable scoring captivated rival fans. I promise I'm not overly praising this player, but he's one of my favorites, and a fan favorite for dismantling defenses, which is why it frustrates me that he's included in this video. Despite his remarkable offensive skills, the playoffs revealed T-Mac's limitations under pressure that champions face. In 9 playoff appearances, he averaged an impressive 22, 6, and 5. However, his shooting efficiency plummeted to 42% from the field and just below 29% from three-point range. However, those figures do not convey the complete picture. During the peak of his career, McGrady's teams failed to win a playoff series, and he made it to the conference finals just once in 2013. Ironically, as a bench player who recorded no points in minimal time on a team you likely don't recall he was part of, D-Mac's track record in the postseason is so lacking that this guy's gap in his resume is primarily due to the playoffs in general when he is healthy. I mean, from the start, this guy was causing early departures. Following a quick exit in the first round of the 2000 season, Mac sought a trade to join a different team and distance himself from his cousin Shadow in Toronto, but the Raptors surged to the Eastern Conference semifinals, putting up a serious challenge against Allen Iverson's Sixers during their finals journey. At the same time, he faced defeat against the Bucks in 4 games during the first round, while T-Mac experienced one of his many unsuccessful attempts to lead, hitting 20% from three-point range and a disappointing 41% overall shooting. T-Mac's time with the Magic was plagued by misfortune. He not only expressed his regret for leaving the Raptors initially, but the player he joined, Grant Hill, would appear in fewer than 50 games throughout their entire time together. In 2002 with Orlando, he maintained an average of 31 points per game, shooting 46% from the field and hitting 31% from three-point range. However, the Magic were outperformed and knocked out by Charlotte in only 4 matches. In 2005, McGrady exploded in Houston, averaging 31 points per game on 45% shooting and an impressive 37% from 3, featuring that sensational dunk over Sean Bradley. However, the Rockets ultimately lost in a 7-game battle against the Dallas Mavericks. Although McGrady experienced some high points, critical late-game situations and matchups against the Mavericks revealed flaws and his failure to perform under pressure when it mattered. Perhaps the most devastating defeat occurred in 2003 during the notorious 3-1 collapse against the Detroit Pistons. After beginning the series with a stellar outing, scoring 43 points in Game 1, McGrady averages an impressive 32 points on 45% shooting, with 34% from beyond the arc over the first 4 games. Orlando stunned the NBA by completely collapsing a dominant 3-1 advantage, appearing ready for a significant playoff journey. McGrady remarked with assurance that it was satisfying to advance to the second round, a remark that resonated amid the excitement of the playoffs. However, the wheels came off. Rookie Taurean Prince played more minutes than ever before and astonished everyone with an impressive defensive performance. In games 5 to 7, McGrady averaged 25 points per game with a frigid 36% shooting from the field and 23.5% from three-point range. Struggling to gain dominance over the Pistons' stifling defense or to navigate Orlando's abrupt second-round stagnation. I love T-Mac, but you have to recognize how crazy you must be defensively to force one of the greatest offensive talents ever to shoot like tour date figures. The enchantment allowed a chance to pass by, and the story portrayed McGrady as a player incapable of succeeding under playoff pressure. In 2004, McGrady had to move to Houston, where sadly his partnership with Yao Ming would once more be hindered by injuries to both players. By 2007 and 2008, McGrady's weariness had intensified. Regrettably, it was way too late for the WD-40. He still achieved an average of 25 in the 7-game loss to Utah in 2007, but he only shot 39% from the field. Clearly burdened by exhaustion and the physical impact, I notoriously confessed I lacked legs during critical moments. In the subsequent season, continuing to deal with persistent injuries and with yowing out, he averaged 27 points per game, but shot only 42% and 20% from beyond the arc, gathering sufficient bricks to construct a new neighborhood. Team chemistry weakened and clutch performance affected as Houston was eliminated in 6. At that point, fatigue and injuries started to align with his instinctive scoring abilities, while defenses intuitively focused on him, aware that without regular postseason modifications, he would ultimately falter offensively. What caused it to occur? A mix of factors turned out to be catastrophic. McGrady, generally, found himself in the wrong spot at the wrong moment. Injuries to Grant Hill weakened his lineup, leaving his team struggling to stay competitive. Although McGrady had to take every shot, there were moments in which he sadly faltered when the chances for playoff success appeared. Paul George emerged in the NBA scene as a quintessential contemporary wing. At 6'8", he combined fluid outside scoring, solid playmaking, and exceptional defensive skills in a manner that few competitors could replicate. Referred to as playoff P from the start, a bold assertion that excellence in the postseason was not merely anticipated but insisted upon. And still, in spite of his skills and confidence, his playoff journey has turned into a puzzle of contradictions. Impressive statistics that conceal shortcomings, intense outbursts eclipsed by icy dry spells, and a mindset that appears to fracture under stress. In more than 108 playoff games, Playoff P has averaged a strong 22 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Figures that appear striking on the surface, but examine them closely and you'll uncover a concerning reality. In approximately 45% of those games, George recorded a field goal percentage below 40%, a fluctuating rating that ranks just below Russell Westbrook among high-usage playoff players in recent times. That level of inefficiency illustrates a picture of a scorer capable of dazzling outbursts. Consider 41-point gems or momentum-shifting scoring flurries, though their potential and crucial moments are overshadowed by infrequent stretches of 3 unfortunate misses in succession or stagnant fourth-quarter plays that undermine the team's aspirations.
Paul George's playoff track record is quite poor, man. As you all know, this person is my greatest adversary in the world. Yet whenever the calendar reaches April, I hope that this person can make a change. While in the past, PG seemed like the next player in line, providing us with memorable playoff highlights against the Miami Heat. Lately, this guy has delivered performances so blank that it ruins the entire stadium. Though it pains me to say it, Joel Embiid possesses all the qualities to become one of the top players of his time. He's a 7-foot powerhouse, capable of scoring in the post, making mid-range shots, hitting free throws consistently, and safeguarding the rim on defense. He has earned an MVP, which is quite controversial for some since it was largely a toss-up between him and Joker. Though I can't tolerate this guy's face, his skill is quite undeniable. He topped the league in scoring on 2 occasions and has received several All-NBA and All-Defensive Team selections. This guy dropped 70, 18, and 5 on Wemshead. He harassed Cat for 51 during the regular season when he isn't flailing like a fish out of water. Embiid consistently excels, achieving impressive numbers such as 33 points and 10 rebounds per game during his 2022-2023 MVP season. However, when the playoffs arrive, it's evident that everything appears quite different. Although he had high hopes for the skilled Philadelphia lineup, Embiid has never advanced beyond the second round of the playoffs. And year after year, his teams fall short in the most critical moments of the playoffs. During his playoff career, Embiid averages roughly 24 points and 11 rebounds each game. Strong in theory, but not meeting the anticipated standards of an MVP. As a big man, his shooting percentage falls to about 45%, a substantial decline from his usual performance during the regular season. He often commits significantly more turnovers during the postseason, averaging nearly 4 turnovers each game. To make matters worse, some of his worst performances have occurred in the most significant games: 7th games, do-or-die contests, or series-ending chances. These are the times when superstars are meant to shine, yet for Embiid, they frequently result in subdued evenings, leading to disappointing defeats, or even some tears, courtesy of Kawhi Leonard. The playoffs of 2023 served as a prime illustration. The 76ers went up against the Celtics in the second round and held a 3-2 series advantage, with Game 6 taking place in Philadelphia. Embiid tallied 26 points, quite decent, yet it was his extraordinary power to become invisible in the final quarter that left everyone astonished. In Game 7, with a spot in the conference finals at stake, Embiid delivered one of his poorest performances ever. Only 15 points on 5 for 18 shooting, while Jason Tatum exploded for 51. The Sixers suffered a crushing defeat, and Embiid exited the court in disappointment yet again. Following the game, James Harden managed only 9 points, which wasn't unexpected, and head coach Doc Rivers was dismissed shortly thereafter. Embiid described it as a letdown of a season, yet by that point, fans had already been told that numerous times. This was not just a single occurrence. In 2018, the Sixers were fresh and thrilling, yet fell to the Celtics in 5 games. In 2019, they were defeated by the Raptors in that memorable Game 7 when Kawhi made that legendary shot and won at 21, but played poorly with 8 turnovers. Sure, I likely shed tears as well. In 2021, the Sixers secured the top seed in the East, but fell to the 5th-seeded Atlanta Hawks in 7 games, highlighted by a dismal Game 7 where Ben Simmons faced scrutiny, while Embiid had issues with shot selection and decisions late in the game. In 2022, Embiid competed with an injury once more, and the Heat defeated the Sixers in 6 matches. Injuries have largely influenced the situation, as he has faced knee issues, back discomfort, facial fractures, and torn ligaments in his thumb throughout playoff campaigns. However, eventually, individuals lose interest in your justifications. Other players like Nikola Jokic, who guided the Nuggets to a title in 2023, have maintained their health, excelled in crucial moments, and demonstrated their ability to lead when it counts. Embiid, conversely, has yet to experience a genuinely outstanding playoff performance to quiet the doubters. It's not only the numbers, it's the way he appears on the field. In tight contests, Embiid may appear sluggish, exhausted, or uncertain about his next move. He opts for difficult jump shots, finds himself trapped in double teams, or makes careless turnovers. He's a solid defensive player, yet that doesn't consistently appear in critical moments. His body language is terrible as well, particularly when he doesn't receive the calls he desires. Given his size, talent, and consistent regular season success, it's difficult to grasp why the playoffs remain so harsh. At this stage, it is evident that Embiid excels during the regular season but falls short in the postseason. He possesses immense talent, yet he hasn't demonstrated the ability to guide a team far into the playoffs, maintain his health, and perform under pressure. As the years pass and new stars emerge, missed opportunities are increasingly difficult to overlook. Despite all the discussions about the trust process that launched his career and generated so much excitement, the final outcomes can be summed up by the fact that everyone in Philly has now developed significant trust issues. Amidst the frenzy of the NBA regular season, where fast breaks abound and defenses frequently slack, stars such as James Harden, Jalen Green, T-Mac, and the newly formed pair of PG and Abid have captivated fans with spectacular plays, impressive statistics, and moments worthy of MVP recognition. They have both borne the burden of a franchise on their backs.
Harden with his step-backs and isolation skills, Green with his pure explosiveness, McGrady with his fluid, easy scoring, and George with his refined two-way play.
However, as April arrives and the stakes increase, a new game takes shape. Certain individuals exist for these moments, and it makes you ponder how different NBA history might be if they possessed that playoff mentality. Thank you for staying until this point. If you're new, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and as usual, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.